Hello, everybody, and welcome back to more BTS America's 4 action. This is KotLGuy, and, well, we are getting ready to close out round number 1 of this bracket. And, yeah, today we did start off in a bit of a funk as we were slated to cast the matchup of Elite Wolves versus Power of Friendship, but we found out Power of Friendship is no longer a team. That awarded Elite Wolves with the def win, and that left us with about a 3-hour intermission. But the intermission has finished. We are back. We are getting ready to hop into a game. I'm going to bring up the draft pick once again, and joining me for this one, I've got Blaze remotely here, except he hasn't heard anything I said because I left my mic muted right here. Blaze is going to be joining me here as a co-Blaze. You didn't hear it in my intro because I forgot to unmute my mic, but it was just all jargon. Anyways, I'm happy to have you here nonetheless. Before we fire into the draft, I want to say I apologize to MSS because of the way that Power Friendship just suddenly had been disbanded, and with all the shuffle craziness going on, I was like, I don't even know if Shazam's a team, so I messaged MSS. I'm like, hey, is Shazam a team? Yeah, I didn't know he was actually playing in a game at that moment against Complexity, and they went on to lose that game. So I feel terrible. MSS, if you happen to come back and watch this replay, I'm very sorry. I did not know what was going on, and I was being a dumbass in that moment. Anyways, best of luck in this matchup, sir. Blaze, I know there's been a lot of crazy things happening outside of the world. We'll focus on this matchup here. How you feeling about Shazam versus Not Today, and how do you think how would you forecast the series unfolding here?
It's going to be pretty interesting. About a month ago, I would say that it would be extremely favored towards Shazam. Shazam has been very stable and just overall been performing really well by comparison to Not Today. I actually got the privilege of standing in for Shazam versus Not Today in another tournament. And it was only, I believe, 2 members of this roster on the Not Today banner, but it was still like a 27-minute win. It was just no trouble at all. There was some really good cohesion from Shazam, and Brax was making some really good, smooth calls. But now their most recent match that Shazam and Not Today matched up with this newer roster for Not Today, it was only a 2-1 victory for Shazam. And I think the most important thing to bring to this series is this is actually the first day that Brax is playing off lane for Shazam, where he has been playing off mid and MSS has been playing off lane. They've been talking about it, and Brax finally wants to make it go back to his kind of former calling in the off lane role. So it'll take a little bit of practice and a little bit of work to bring that back up to par.
That is interesting. Does that mean they've just done the perfect swap and put MSS in the mid lane and TC still carries? Okay, awesome. Unfortunately, I've been actually missing out on a fair bit of the American Dota, at least as recent matches go. But for Not Today, it can be a little bit confusing here. People even asking if that was the real HY. With another name RTZ and such, it makes it a bit difficult, but it should be, I believe Goody's in there and Benjaz, I imagine, but we'll just try to make
Benjaz is HY, okay. And then Zai/RTZ, whatever he wants to call himself, is actually Leo style.
Leo style, okay. All right, we'll do our best with this. They're not making it too easy, but it is BTS Americas. It's not a major, so what can you do, really? Vengeful Spirit will be Not Today's first choice. Remember, they won the coin flip and decided for the first pick, and this is what they're going to bank it on right now. For Shazam, this leaves them with the Invoker and possibly a big follow-up to come here. You got a plethora of options here if they want to go more value into the offlane and favor something like a Faceless Void, let's say. But that might be kind of skeptical now with the Vengeful Spirit first pick. I think that's kind of the more peculiar thing. But other teams like, well, what was EG used to favor going for the early Vengeful Spirit. What does that say about a team committing for that early support as opposed to getting like a Invoker or OD or other big name?
Witch Doctor.
Well, I mean, obviously, as you mentioned, it's a really good answer to certain offlaners like the Faceless Void, like the Bat Redder. You can kind of break down their initiation of their ultimates quite effectively with things like Nether Swap. It shows that they really want to focus on making sure that their safe lane carry is set up for success, whether it's amplifying his damage, whether it's pulling himself out of a bad position. Now they've got the Magic Immunity Piercing swap on the Witch Doctor to cancel Death Ward. That's always really good too. But yeah, as committing to it for an opener, while the hero is great, there are a lot of cores on the field that you look at and you're like, okay, well, why would you pick that over X, Y, or Z? But Ursa still gets through the first phase here. In general, the South American scene really favors Ursa. We've been seeing Brazilian teams and Peruvian teams alike run this hero very frequently, and it accelerates the map. It makes their playstyle so clear cut because they're
Radiant
going to be
team
focusing on
back.
objectives while focusing on kills at the same time. There's a really good balance in such an offensive hero.
Got it. It looks already pretty identical to that
Dire
last
team
lineup we
back.
saw the Ursa play in, which I believe was the new Team Unknown, or Team Infamous as it is right now, I believe. In their first round, they had a pretty similar lineup where a Vengeful Spirit was always there as a safety net for the Ursa, and Kotaro Hayama did not disappoint on his Ursa in that game.
10
So we'll have to see what
seconds
kind of build-up
remaining.
Not Today are going to be looking to put around that. And for Shazam, now they
5
kind of see the
seconds
hand that's been
remaining.
dealt by Not Today. We look to their response. They have their Witch Doctor slated for now.
Reserve
Still,
time.
tickles the idea of possibly still committing for something like a Faceless Void, but I don't think I'd still encourage it against something like the Vengeful Spirit now. But after banning out this Death Prophet here,
Dire
very
team
worrisome about maybe the potential push or what is remaining as a big threat for Invoker. But OD is still out there, so favoring a ban over Death Prophet instead of going OD is a bit peculiar to me.
Yeah, I guess it goes with the tempo a little bit here, but I still think the OD is very powerful.
Yeah.
For now, Shazam, I think that their next pick is going to be a consideration of maybe a Darkseer. Also, Shadow Demon is honestly really good against Ursa, so I would love to see that kind of a
10
hero too.
seconds remaining.
Those are the two that stand out to me. Darkseer is going to be picked up
Radiant
first, and
team
I still
pick.
think it's possible that you get the Shadow Demon now that the enemy can't pick Darkseer and they can't surge away from that Demonic Purge. But that OD obviously can be run in the mid lane, can be in the safe lane, and can be very ferocious in either capacity. I mean, that hero just does so much work and can definitely levy a mid matchup against like an Exort Invoker as he approaches level 6 and 7.
I happened to be kind of during the intermission period, like
10
gazing
seconds
over at the
remaining.
RTZ stream, and for a while there, he was kind of showing the old Speed
5
Gaming run
seconds
back
remaining.
at MLG, and it was like a highlighted reel, and everyone was getting all sentimental over it and stuff. And even then, like RTZ on his OD, just kind of being a powerhouse.
Dire team
There is something gratifying about as much as people like to OS Frog or say how OP the hero is. I don't know. I guess to me, at least, there's something gratifying about when he's able to get off those big power hits in a big Sanity's Eclipse, and I welcome our OD overlords here. Disruptor, though, very good pickup here for Not Today. You still need a way to kind of deal with the Darkseer in the laning phase. You're not gonna, I guess, you're not gonna try to like over glorify it and get something like an
10
Oracle, but
seconds
to
remaining.
value more into getting the Disruptor, who has great crowd control, could easily
5
shut down an
seconds
Invoker
remaining.
with a Static Storm. And well, as I was saying, in the Darkseer laning phase, he has the Glimpse to keep him back.
Reserve
a good Kinetic
time.
Field could keep him back, and all around a solid support grab.
Yeah, I think that's going to bring a lot of potential here. Definitely going to be able to lock in on a couple of key targets. If you could get the Invoker and Witch Doctor caught inside a Disruptor combo, like you have an automatically won fight. Those are two heroes that are extremely dependent on their spells and getting them out and preventing silences and also keeping good positioning away. That's why naturally they have either like the knockback effects or the movement speed boost for the Invoker, and the Witch Doctor with Cask and Heal usually has some good survivability tools. So if Disruptor can be on point with just one or two good initiations here, kinetic static on those kinds of heroes, you're going to be seeing some great effectiveness. But we're going to be actually seeing the Winter
Team
Wyvern
pick.
come out here from Shazam, and I think there's a lot of potential with this.
Dire
Some
team
teams
back.
have run this hero to limited success, kind of trying to play it the old way. But if you use it as kind of a hero that could buy space and time, let's say the Ursa pops in Rage and you immediately Winter's Curse him, you can just run the clock down on that thing. You're not doing damage to him anyways.
Definitely requires the coordination, and
10
I would hope it's
seconds
something that
remaining.
these teams are going to be used to and have the proper communication, because as we know with this new
5 seconds
ultimate,
remaining.
it could just as quick end up being a bit of a burden to your own team. Obviously, the person you select is only
Reserve
going to be
time.
the one taking the damage, and it's only with the people involved with that Winter's Curse. So you misfire with a big vacuum combo, a Death Ward, an Invoker combo at the wrong time, then you look like you're just on cooldowns, and you're just going to be in a
10
bit of
seconds
a mess.
remaining.
But at pro level, it
Radiant
is something you
team
can
back.
suspect they're able to make those kind of calls, and yeah, you could render Ursa and his huge,
Dire team pick.
ultimate just completely useless right there. Or, also good with its ridiculous new long range. Hell, if he wants to get an Ether Lens, let's say, you can catch like a backlining support, like a waiting in the back Disruptor, or Vengeful Spirit, let's say, who's trying to pull off a big save. You get her who's next to, well, if she happens to be next to an Ursa, she's going to be mauled apart within seconds. So there's potential there for the Winter Wyvern, and well, the response to that, they picked up a puck, and now Shazam are going to be closing out their 5-man draft right now with a Spectre, so making it a bit of the late game.
Yeah, their most recent game against Complexity was with a Spectre, and TC was all as farmed as you could be. I mean, he had a refresher orb towards the tail end of that game, and they were actually bringing it back. Brax told me that they kind of lost the game more to vision than anything else. They kind of got ratted and threw a little bit, but in the end, TC has shown that he can farm and that he can carry hard with a hero like Spectre. So I think there's a lot of potential with this. You get enough mobility, jumping around. Disruptor's Glimpse is something that can be a problem, but more often you're going to be able to get that double reality and you'll be okay to still get into the fight. So overall, I like the Spectre pick. It's always going to be able to contribute. Just a quick Witch Doctor movement could honestly set up the global presence. You got the Sunstrike, you've got the Spectre. One cask equals one kill when you have those kinds of abilities at your disposal.
We'll have to see what Not Today want to do to respond. For the Spectre, I could just as quickly see them maybe ramp up the early mid-game play a bit more to not allow the Spectre to really kind of thrive in the later game and contest her in the laning phase where she can be at her weakest. They have great crowd control already with this potential puck pickup here, and it would be funny to see this puck go for that early Veil build-up, something that I believe Ryu said that was a Brax pioneered build-up, so it would be pretty ironic to see him go against Brax with it. But how they can utilize something like that and amplify their early game is going to be something interesting. Do you think that's the right approach, or can they bank on maybe pulling out, I don't know, AM?
Not with their current lineup
or something. Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah.
The Ursa's going to be
I don't think
the
you
main
can.
focal point.
I don't really think you can snowball with the puck through an item like Veil. It's great against Dispersion because of the way the reflection works, but in general, like you have so much physical damage coming from Venge and Ursa, only a moderate amount of magic damage from the Disruptor puck. Now getting Leo style, this Gyrocopter will add in a little bit of that kind of hybrid damage output, but I'm still not the biggest fan of the Veil here. You're going to be up against that mech and that Voodoo Restoration. Burst damage is nice, but I'd say you could just get that in the form of a Dagon and get kind of focused single target damage, which is what they're lacking. Disruptor, Gyro, they'll cover their bases with some good AoE, but they need to make sure that they can also just blast somebody down at the beginning of the fight.
Who would you say would have the better team fight now, though? When you see a Gyrocopter come out at the end and you already put it together with something like a Puck, a Disruptor, I mean, it feels like Not Today we're able to close out with some big team fight heavy hitters there. But on the other side, you have Shazam, who's got the infamous Vacuum Wall combo, a Spectre who's globally always going to get involved, and then potential for an Invoker or a Death Ward to kind of bounce on top. So if these teams happen to go into a huge five-man clash, let's say everyone's on the same playing field as far as farm goes, Blaze, who would you say is going to be able to walk away with the better team fight?
A little tough because, I mean, as with all these kinds of questions, it does come down to execution to an extent. But my real question is how experienced MSS feels on the Invoker. I mean, we've just been talking about how he's been playing so much off lane. We haven't really gotten to see so much mid performance from him. There's a big difference between playing Lone Druid and playing Invoker, and I just feel like it really comes down to how well he's able to execute with his abilities. If we get to see Vacuum, Meteor, Deafening Blast combos, then I really do think Shazam have the better fight, but it's much harder to execute. I think Not Today have the easier to execute 5-on-5. Shazam have the higher skill cap and higher potential.
With that, we are underway here. No early confrontation going to be coming out. This is just game number 1 of our Not Today versus Shazam best of 3 here for BTS Americas 4. This is the final matchup in our opening round. Then we get to move into round number 2, and that's when things are going to get a bit tighter. And I got to say, first, I'm going to give a shout-out to Shazam. Their little icon or flag here in the middle lane, the magic wand with the stars, is just absolutely fabulous. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to bring the magic here, though, in their performance. They're already coming off that loss to Complexity, and it was a 2-0 shutout. And game number 2 looked like it could have been theirs, but we'll see if they're going to be able to kind of keep their heads held high here in a matchup against a very, aggressive and what can be ruthless South American squad, and Not Today.
All right, so starting things off, we are going to be seeing a pretty good block here for Fun and for MSS. He's going to get that salve out very early on, and pretty much just the perfect build to fight this Gyrocopter early. It's actually going to be pretty interesting seeing Leo Style take the Gyro mid while the puck goes to the off lane, whereas commonly you'll see the puck in the mid lane by far. But yeah, it's a Boots first puck, which should be able to, by all rights, withstand the oppression of the Witch Doctor Wyvern. But in the meantime, yeah, you're going to see like a max rocket Gyrocopter, and as long as the Invoker keeps his regen coming out, I think he'll be okay.
And I'll have to see, but it seems like this Vengeful Spirit also wants to utilize the way to be a part of this rocket, but there's action also breaking out everywhere else. Up in top lane, Abuser getting abused a bit by Savage and his
he wanted to go
bad
over.
jump, and it didn't make it over, so he gets caught out. And Savage is going to be picking up the first blood there. And all it takes is a simple Arctic Burn, one of the most famous skills to harass with at level 1, and this time it will lead to a early fatality. In bottom lane, Brax is even really going in pretty deep here against the Disruptor, who thinks about kind of committing for it, but then will double back. But he is pretty much being the presence in this off lane, which is pretty nice for a Darkseer.
Yeah, when the Venge tries to help out the Gyrocopter get a better start, it makes it so that Brax gets the 1v2. This gives him a lot more free experience. This allows him to pressure much more directly, especially when the carry himself is melee. So yeah, Brax has been able to get a lot of damage in, but his level 3 still seems to be taking him a while. Obviously, still faring much better, though, than the Boots Puck, who, for those that don't understand what he was trying to do there, if you get halfway over that obstruction, the river, essentially, then if you get just halfway between the impassable terrain, you're automatically forced to the southern spot. And while a Spectre might be able to still dive that if the dagger's still active, generally it'll give you your only real reliable chance to survive. So Abuser made a good play there, but he was just out of position from the onset.
And now was able to at least snag up a rune for himself. You don't know Puck. I mean, there was a period, I remember way back, maybe even Star Letter 10, it was all about the offlane Puck, and that was the first tournament where it really started falling off, and we haven't seen much of it since. But here it is, trying to make something work here, at least working with the camp on the side, just a fresh level 2. Compare that over to Brax bottom lane, reaches level 3, but now he
and the
could be
courier
one
too.
Ooh, pull back glimpse, and they are going to be able to go a 3v1 right now. Brax is not going to be able to make it away from this.
And
Last hit will be the Venge.
Mid.
Mid. Looks like the follow-up here. They're making their move. Can they get Leo style here? He's actually turning it back now for Jason. And Fun is going to be taken down as a bit of a response. Now 2-1. Nice little turnaround there. Maybe a bit of over-aggression for some Zam. Hands over an extra.
I mean, it seemed like a good gank when it came out. It was two-man smoke. They had the opening there, but they put a couple hits to the courier, and that gave a little bit more time for JSL to get back, get some bottle steps, get a healing salve out, and more importantly, MSS just couldn't commit the cooldowns he needed to. He was not in the position to follow through, so I guess it probably comes down to that coordination thing. He might be have played a lot of mid heroes recently in pubs, but when it comes to playing with his teammates in the mid role, it's probably been only like 4 or 5 games. So knowing how to coordinate a gank where the supports rotate for you, it's much more common for a mid laner than it is for an off laner.
Certainly. MSS, though, has got to be one of those players who's played pretty much every role over the place. A mercenary similar to the way like Demon is. I'm sure somewhere along the way, maybe in scrims practice off and on, he has played mid lane, but I will agree that it's not something probably fresh for him, and it's obviously going to be something very new when we know him more to be like a 4 position or even an off laner as of recent. We'll have to see if he can be able to step it up for this one and get Shazam out of their slump day today. And, well, we already see the rocket harassment continue coming out, and sure enough, it is level 3. The 1-3-1 build here for this Gyrocopter, and, that's one thing. You're not in the mid lane very often as it is, and you come into a lane with a Gyrocopter who has max rocket. That's got to be a migraine in itself.
Yeah, luckily Invoker is one of the better heroes to deal with it with the max quas. As long as Gyrocopter doesn't bottle crow and get every rune, MSS should still be able to withstand this harassment, but it does hurt. It definitely does.
Oh, look at it. Yeah, I mean, it only has does have that Firefly to kind of fall back on and a couple of charges on his wand, but this is allowing Gyrocopter to creep in with the CS game. He pulls ahead inch by inch, 21 to the 20 of the Invoker. And we check bottom lane right now. Brax managed to get 15-0. We put that in comparison over to Abuser here, and he's still 4-0 CS on his Puck. He's still trying to just crawl his way. This is like a sympathy little push from these creeps right now for him. It looks like the first big wave he's been able to get for himself.
And look at the towers as well. Like the Puck's tower is sitting here at about 360. The wave is just not very effective.
Move on Brax bottom lane though. They get the stun off a couple of slashes later, and little Fuzzy Wuzzy is going to have a Brax to take home.
So, I mean, in the end, it does mean that the Darkseer goes down one additional time, which obviously is a big deal for this Ursa. Ursa's a hero that brings a lot to the table in terms of momentum. If he's able to get these exact items, as well as the smoke out early, just him being off the map forces Shazam to constantly check the pit. They have to use Sunstrikes, they have to send forward spirits, they just have to be constantly aware of the threat of this Rosh being taken. Well, the Ursa could very well just be jungling. He could just be killing up his Ancients. He could just be killing up some hard creep camps. And Shazam is the one that has to still move in reaction to that if the Ursa's ever off the map.
Speaking of making some moves here, Abuser away from his top lane now, kind of just floating around mid. I don't know if they were hoping for some potential setup, but he will be able to get a little bit of luck here. The bottom rune will be a bounty one. He can almost get to level 4, not quite yet, but now making his move towards the bottom lane. Is this some sort of adventure for him to at least participate in a kill, or is this going to be... It looks like it's that time where, yeah, this Ursa's got his Morbid Mask. He's going to go in the jungle, farm up, and the lane can now be handed over to the Puck. So finally, he can get something for himself. Some sort of nourishment, Blaze.
Definitely. Of course, this does mean that TC will get free farm in his own safe lane. The Ursa will get slightly less GPM than he would normally, but overall, it's still great for the Puck. The Puck's finally going to get his Dream Coil up, get some treads out, and start working towards a Blink Dagger, or maybe just rush the Blink, since he did have that bad start. But either way, again, it means that Shazam are constantly concerned about what's going on in that pit. They don't want to give like a 7-8 minute Roshan to Not Today, so we're going to be seeing that Forward Spirit make its move, and I feel like MSS just has to keep that there 24/7.
Yeah.
Because HYHY just jungling it up is just being off the map. He could have smoked it.
They continue to try to make moves here for Leo style in the mid lane. This time they will pull the trigger on the Spec Hunt, and a Sunstrike will be there waiting for him, so that's going to be the successful kill. Can they get redemption, though, for Not Today? The swipes are coming out, but it's not going to be enough. MSS will be able to step back. Shazam, it's a hard commitment. They get 4 of their 5 involved, and also Not Today rotate nearly the whole squad in, and I think Shazam got to be happy about that one. They take the 1 kill. It's a big core in that gyrocopter, and they're going to be less satisfied.
Yeah, the gyrocopter didn't even throw the call down, and obviously the Puck rotating while he's still level 4. That's just a bit of a waste for him. Brax is going to start maybe even creep cutting here with the Iron Shell and just clearing out all the creep waves while Abuser is abused in his own lane. So he's having a very rough time of it, but Brax seems pretty confident. He does have to be a little wary because his TP's on cooldown, but as we can see, his team is here to back him up.
Abuser had to know when he picked this name that that joke was just going to be happening over and over again. So he signed up for this when he got that name, and that's what he's going to get here. Bottom lane, he could be abused once more. Smoke coming in. And it's going to be Jason Savage and MSS, the 3-man gank, and sure enough, can't jot away all that. Abuser will be going down, and there'll be another pick off there for Shazam, and they're going to be segueing it into a nice little tier 1 takedown. Started pretty promising for Not Today, but this game is going to be starting to tip the way for the Dire faster and faster.
Yeah, and that's going to be Hand of Midas out for MSS as well. Darkseer gets the last on the tower, so he'll be very close to a mechanism. Could go Arcanes, but no, he does go for the Ring of Regen here, so we're going to be seeing a mechanism within the next like 600, 700 gold. So very nice timing for him. TC up top will be pushed back a little bit here, but he's even without any strength items, you just look at the low-level Puck and Disruptor, they just can't do too much to him. They can't really threaten him without like a Ursa rotating.
He looked like he was moving like he was going to think about it, but really there was no way. I don't know if maybe they didn't even see the mana. He couldn't dagger out, but nonetheless just not worth the effort without having really the potential to do it. While bottom lane Brax is just kind of sapping some farm and XP using just his Iron Shells only. Can't really obviously get too close into the lane to kind of contest this Ursa yet, but we'll kind of hang out in the meantime while he knows there's no threat nearby. He's got that very nice vision here, deep ward in the jungle. We'll see the rotations over like this one from Jericho, so he's good. He's found a good position for himself, and his Darkseer will continue to farm up and try to build and finish that mech. He's very close to it now. Just needs about 500 gold, and he'll be good. Haunt's going to be out, and it looks like a commitment here to making a move for the Disruptor. My camera was almost not going to want to see it, but we got it. And at the top lane, it does look like a shift from Abuser and TC, just kind of playing footsie. No real commitment. But that's 3 back-to-back takes, yeah.
Yeah, the cool thing is that Spectre just got to reality in, killed the Disruptor, and then reality back. He got the gold, and he got right back to the lane keep farming. I mean, that was just a really efficient play from TC. He may have 3 assists, no actual kills, but he was at least in assist goal range for that kill, and then he's right back up top thanks to the bounce back of that reality.
TP, and then a glimpse on back. Potential wonderful pickup here if they can burst through that pesky ice block. Now they can get it. Nice rotation in from the Disruptor will allow them to take advantage of that level 3 glimpse, and they grab a support.
Yeah, and in the meantime, although Brax does get the surge away, HY just hounds him down, and they are able to pick up that Darkseer popping the Enrage. So Mask of Madness phase boots, really hard to get away from that, even with the ability to hit that max movement speed out. And when Jericho has the swap, this is going to be a very threatening lane. Like, you just have this dual lane start pushing at the tower, and if only one person comes to defend, then they're always going to get picked off because of the Jericho swap.
We got a Dream Coil up now for Abuser. It looks like they're plotting something potentially here in the top lane, but TC not having any of it. Already makes his adventure towards the jungle, which is probably the best choice. If you caught out close to this Disruptor, he'll pull you right back into some open arms. HY back into the grind, building up his farm a bit. This is when your supports need to start bringing in their level 6s right now. There's some high-value ultis that are still yet to come online here. This Death Ward from the Witch Doctor still needs to come together, as well as SVG and that Winter's Curse. These are huge ultis right now, so it's all about trying to find them a little bit of me time right now. And Savage getting his in the bottom lane.
Yep. So that mech timing is going to be really good for Shazam in general with the Forge Spirits and the mechanism. They can feel very confident starting to push out towers and start taking control of the map. This is pretty much the name of the game for any team in 6.86, is just to get the early map dominance so you can control the resources, control the income. And with getting a D-Ward that's pretty fresh out in the Radiant Jungle, as well as just having this kind of posture with the mech advantage, I feel like Shazam are going to be able to do some amazing work.
Incoming glimpse. There it is. It will be on fun. And even a call down committed for it. Probably not necessary, but better safe than sorry. They'll take the support. Could have been a lot worse if they were able to catch up someone like Brax, who is still trying to just finish out the mech. Looks like he's able to grab it now. Just needs to get it on the courier and onto his body. Oh, he might have spotted that. Yes, he did. He just pinged out and spotted out that ward. He actually can see it, but opts to run away from it, fearing the potential gank coming his way.
Yeah, the creeps will take care of it, so it won't be much for Brax, but he'll get the experience. Actually, give himself level 8. 1 point of vacuum finally online, and more importantly, the mechanism, of course, coming out. So, yeah, now it's just on Shazam to start going as 3 or 4. Again, keep the Forge Spirit in the pit if you don't see the Ursa, but otherwise they can methodically take a number of towers here, mid and top tier 1s. Pretty open.
Has Not Today kind of... It feels like they forfeited the idea of just making an active movement for the Roche and instead are just kind of welcoming the opportunity if it's presented for them, like maybe on the back of a big pick-off on a huge core, or maybe taking a team fight. Usually by now is when you'd really see them like kind of inching in there, like they are thirsty for it, but he's been kind of just instead pushing forward to maybe getting just a Blink Dagger and using that Blink Dagger to maybe just take some names. Mid lane though, speaking of taking some names, Jericho makes his move in. They're going for TC, and it's right into a Static Storm, a beautiful setup there, and they will have the firepower to finish him off. A potential turnaround here, but this is where we need those level 6s, and they don't quite have them. Brax has his, though, drops the level 6 wall. Jericho is going to be forced back, eating a lot of the damage here. Do they have the assault? It looks like they could. MSS to the high ground, not going to be able to get the reach. And it looks like Little Vengeful Spirit will be able to make it away. That could have been a lot better. Shazam would just had a little bit more time and a little more XP. But Not Today are going to be able to kind of take the one kill, the big kill at that on TC.
Yeah, very important that they get the kill on the Spectre at some time before the 15-minute mark. But as you're mentioning, it's only going to get harder now that we see the level 6 up for the Winter Wyvern, soon to be picked up on Fun on the Witch Doctor. I mean, he is going to be a menace with that Death Ward. There are obviously quite a few things that can cancel it, but so often Not Today are using those abilities to get into the fight in the first place, to initiate. Maybe the Blink Daggers will help when the Puck has his, and obviously the Ursa just now picking it up. Benhaz can close distance very quickly, start the action, and maybe that means they'll have one more spell in reserve to break the Death Ward. But if they...
Sorry, I was saying they're smoked. They're looking to make a move, but they don't have a lot of mana yet. SVG cannot cast his ulti. Not going to be necessary, though. It looks like Leo Style has been caught out and put into that little closet there. Will there be a response from Not Today after the tower goes down? I mean, Disruptor is kind of pressing forward like he wants to go for a glimpse, and they're thinking about picking a pick off here, but Shazam's not going to allow that opportunity, it would seem. Sorry to bulge in like that. You can just feel the tension building up. Shazam, we're like, we're doing
definitely
something.
Absolutely. They definitely want to keep the momentum rolling. At this point, they have a very satisfactory early game, and though they already have one-handed Midas and technically the harder carry, I feel like they can still kind of press the disadvantage while it's available to them. So this is just really good for a Spectre who can kind of continue to farm and then just join up with every Haunt. Whenever Haunt's off cooldown, I think Shazam will look for fights. And yeah, now they have the mana to support it. They've got the Arcane Boots up on 2 heroes, and just in general, I think they're going to be able to kind of reset and start going for some more effective objectives together.
All right, Shazam, you've been doing good at keeping tabs on this Roche pit, but after a couple of picks and a skirmish in the mid lane, have they forgotten Oh, suddenly they don't see Ursa on the map anywhere, and he's going to suddenly check it out, but it'd be too late. Oh, maybe not. Savage moves in, gets off the ulti, but it's not going to stop him. Still, Ursa's going to be able to grab it, and he grabs the Aegis here. Just a bit too late, maybe a bit too early for that Winter's Curse, but nonetheless, Ursa is going to be very happy with this one, walks away with the kill with the Aegis, and now Not Today are going to be dictating the pace of this game.
Yeah, it's definitely important that they get that. The last thing in the pit was a illusion rune from Brax or the 14-minute spawn, but once that was expired, the pit was open for Not Today, and they took advantage of that small timing window. So good movement there from Ben Haas. Now with that Aegis, he's going to go with reckless abandon right into the enemy's face, and we'll see how Shazam respond. They don't have the curse, but they should have the haunt, and with that, they should still be able to get some return kills. It just means the Ursa is no longer the focus. The Ursa has his ultimate and the Aegis. You probably just turn your attention to everybody else.
Yeah, or, you know, unfortunately, Curse at level 1 is a pretty dang long cooldown. It's a long cooldown at all levels, nonetheless, so definitely not going to be here at the ready. I was going to say, could consider those stall tactics, but he does no longer have that at the ready here. And it looks like they're just going to have to be submissive on this one, and Not Today will be able to pick up the free Tier 1 tower on that bottom lane. But look at mid, MSS using those Forward Spirits, got the Alacrity out, and he is working his way towards the tower, and he's pushing it to the last second, where he will blink away to safety. He is trying to take back anything that Not Today are looking to take from them.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to make that kind of positioning call when you're up against a Disruptor, because a TP glimpse can really screw you over there. But knowing that they didn't have any sight on the high ground, as soon as the TP ends Venge or Disruptor, he could definitely get out of dodge there. We're actually going to see just quick kill on a Disruptor.
Very nice
stack Storm, but...
Surprise Coconut. The Storm will be committed, and so will the Haunt. But it does get them the kill. He quickly heads out of the mid lane. Leo style. And Viz, he doesn't move there. Brax heads out just at that moment too, though. So, all right, good little hit and run. This one will be a support target, and we'll award Shazam with about 800 gold or so. It's a little bit to kind of stack on top, but now we're seeing big money start to roll into the Blaze. We've gotten the basics under control. For example, you know, your gyrocopter. He's got drums. He's got power treads here. Where do we go from here, though, on him? Helm of the Dominator, straight to BKB, same Kanyasha. What would suit best?
I mean, I think you still have to go for kind of one intermediate item before you go for some like a Monkey King bar. I think FKB getting all that AoE physical damage out is going to be pretty important. Just anything with the Demon Edge in general is going to be applicable for that. So, yeah, I mean, you could go for BKB, but I don't think it's that great against this team lineup. Only really good against the Invoker. So I think you go for like a Dominator into MKB.
All right. We'll see now after he clears out his stack. He now holds about 1,800 gold. Soon to probably make an investment with it here. Well, up and above, Abuser, after starting this game in a bit of a hectic laning phase, is got his Blink Dagger now, but would love to kind of pick up some more necessary tools, more stats here. Can be a bit frail at just below 1k life. Even the Vengeful Spirit on their team has a bit more than that. And then on the other side, though, they always have that ticking time bomb of a Spectre, so they have a pace that they kind of need to keep at here. Now with a Diffusal, so Diffusal straight up on TC, coming after the Drums Urn build-up.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty effective at kiting the Ursa. Just continue to get the Purge out against him. It can also dispel Mask of Madness, so that's pretty sweet. And obviously, the Enrage will still stay intact. But it just, yeah, keep your distance, get the mana burn out. When you actually look at gold per, the amount of gold spent per damage received in terms of your ultimate, Diffusal is by far the best item. So a lot of value picked up here, and it's just going to be allowing him to, every time he uses Haunt, just have a huge impact. And of course the fact that he has no cooldown on this, that he can spam it out whenever he needs to get away, or even just dispel a silence. I mean, it can be really effective.
Not Today, looking to make a move here. Abuser started off softening up Savage here, but Savage made that deep commitment, and now Shazam looking to see what's happening here, and they notice that everyone's top, so mid lane's wide open, and that means Leo Style is going to be taken down. And look at Not Today, just kind of stuck in a bit of a rut. They quickly make their move, now going for mid, and look at that, they caught a big glimpse, and it's going to be on MSS with the Kinetic Field, with the Static Storm, and now the Fuzzy Wuzzy, but look at the turnaround vacuum wall. We'll be able to get the takedown onto the puck. TC now on the move, can't stop Jericho from making it away, but he can go for the Disruptor. That's going to be an easy slashing job right there, and it turns into a 3-for-1 trade. Very nicely done for Shazam. They made the good appropriate pick. The Haunt kind of just put all the information out there, and they were able to get the quick jump on Gyro, and you know, they were in good position to kind of counter-fight the pickoff on MSS.
Absolutely. It just feels like Not Today are really seeking these unrequited pickoffs where they just get a glimpse kill, 1-0 over and over and over. But the problem is vision. They only have like the one offensive ward down and the one kind of awkwardly placed defensive one. To try to actually find these opportunities on like the Wyvern or really just anybody at random, you're going to have to be able to catch your opponent unawares. But good response with the Haunt. Not only the essentially damaging mana burning everybody before the fight, but more, like you said, getting the vision, getting the information, and making it possible for Not Today to really close in. So they do get a very nice glimpse kill, but MSS is by and large still doing amazingly well, and the Agate Scepter will be coming out here in just a second.
Yeah, he has it pretty much right here and now, so his potential has just skyrocketed quite a bit. And even though it doesn't seem to be a big high-performance poker game with lots and lots of kills, the job is getting done mid lane, though. They got a big pullback here for Savage. The swap makes it set up, and then the barrage of gunfire will be coming out there from Mr. Leo Style, and they secure the takedown easily on Mr. SVG. And they're looking to at least hopefully pull this into another Tier 1 takedown, Blaze. This is only going to be their second Tier 1 in about 20 minutes, and they're not even going to be able to get that one. MSS jumps in. The TPs are coming forward, but a nice Static Storm Kinetic Field tries to keep him back and controlled, and it might have just done it. They popped the mech. Quick TP, but no, they got the Hunt. They got the cancel with the vacuum, and they're going to be able to get the pick off there on the Disruptor. Nicely done with the Tornado. Make it a twofer. I got to applaud the Disruptor. That was a beautiful setup with the Kinetic Field and Static Storm. It almost got him out and alive, but the Haunt was there in the nick of time, and there was just the pick-off one after the other there for Shazam. So this is going to be now a grim time for Not Today. It looks like high ground defense is coming in the near future.
Ursa in trouble up top. He will pop the Enrage during the Winter, and then the Winter's Curse will essentially nullify it. The Sunstrike will claim that last hit, and that's just going to be a very effective pickoff as well. Shazam now leading 12-9. I actually thought that Helicopter was about to get out there, but until TC, he was just spamming the heck out of his Honky. As soon as it was off cooldown, it was up in the air, and it did actually set them up for the last two kills. So very clutch success from Shazam. But I mean, this is the team that the kill score should be flopped right now. It should absolutely be like a 3 or 4 at least kill lead for Not Today. And then Shazam are kind of like, okay, we'll play it chill a little bit and we'll get the late game. But it's quite the opposite. They have this mid-game presence as well as the late-game scalability, and it's just going to get dicier for Not Today. They have to go for some heavier gambits now. I actually feel like one big pivot is what's on the Courier right now. There's a Gem of True Sight on the Shazam Courier. It was on the Witch Doctor for a brief period, but I feel like the biggest opportunity for Not Today is if they can catch a hero that has that gem and turn that vision advantage back the other way.
Yeah, and they have one smoke if they want to use that for the big play, and after that, it's like 10 minutes before they'll have another, so they need to make it count. And look who's smoked up right now, though. Shazam, not afraid, even though you're talking about how they do have the late game to fall back on. They're going to continue to play with this 4-man movement and just get TC involved if he happens to, you know, have the Haunt. He's got 10 seconds before it's going to be up, and they might be able to time this one out beautifully. And unfortunately for Not Today, it's going to be right possibly on their near target here. And, well, they jump over the bear. Now they make their move. The wall's going to be there. The coil, though, as the response, will get a nice kill, taking down Fun. Wyvern's able to make it up and over with the help of the Force Staff right now. And for Not Today, they've stepped out from the choke point, drop a nice Static Storm and Kinetic Field, keeping MSS at bay. Now the turnaround, jumping from the puck, makes it come in with the orb. They got the glimpse back. MSS, though, in Ghost Walker, they have the vision, a blink. It only puts him about 4 feet to the right. But he's able to make it away, the Kinetic Field, but there's a swap. They pull him right back in, set up the waves, set up the slashes. They're going to be able to get that kill, but the response is there, taking down the Abuser. Now, here goes Disruptor trying to make it away, but it's Vengeful Spirit jumping from Brax. There's the vacuum. There's the finish. A slaughter there at the end, and TC's the one reaping in a lot from the benefits here. Long-winded fight, but this one as well will go the way for Shazam.
Brax with the cleanup, man. There were so many abilities that really didn't seem to connect. A lot of the Spectre illusions died nearly instantly. The Meteor completely off the mark. But after ping-ponging back the Invoker over and over, what ended up happening was Not Today just repeatedly ran into the wall of Replica as they bounced back and forth. The Puck was a major proponent of that as he used his abilities to kill off his own illusion and then hit the wall again. He triggered it at least 3 times in that fight, kills himself, and Brax just uses that momentum to take the rest of the fight. Triple kill for him, a massive amount of damage as well as gold from him, and yeah, he's just larger than charge right now. He is the key initiator. It's hard for Not Today to really follow through. They're going to get the BKB soon on the Ursa, and that'll allow him to stay in the fight a little bit longer, but I still think that we're going to be seeing Winter's Curses continuously attempt to nullify it. And you talked about the Veil Discord, but I still don't see it on Abuser here. Like, it's picked up, obviously, but is it going to be enough when Shazam is already so far ahead?
I mean, baking on the magical burst he provides, plus the gyrocopter, and then outside of that, you're kind of like, I don't really know. So we'll have to see. And it's just so crazy for all of the fights to be breaking out. The ones that happen in these choke points just, I guess, can get both teams really salivating for taking that kind of a fight. An Invoker who just does work in a choke point. Haunt will always be there. Taking advantage when a team's tight is something that Wyvern really thrives on with the ulti. Vacuum wall, I mean, they already were forced to go through the wall back and forth to even continue to participate. I mean, it's just both teams want to get involved, and Shazam showed that they have better tools in that moment to kind of make it work. And now, convenient for them, the Rosh is going to be up. They're going to be move in, and every Rosh that this Ursa is not getting for himself is a sad day right now, and he's all the way back in base. He's able to pick up a BKB, but the offensive potential is going to be really on the rise here for Shazam. It feels like just them just trying to fall back and get what kind of defensive tools are necessary to kind of stay alive and hope for the best.
Alright, well, it looks like 2 Tier 1 towers are up for grabs here for now today, but the Puck is going to be the one that has to blink back or about. The top Tier 1 will be claimed, the middle one to be denied.
Finally get another Tier 1 for themselves, but the mid one will be denied. So finally breaking through towards those Tier 2s. When you have a lineup like this going against a lineup like Shazam have with the Spectre, you're hoping that you've already taken those Tier 2s, maybe even considering their own push towards the high ground here. So they have a quota that has not been able to be matched yet, but can they get the response here? Abuser going to be eating the Winter's Curse. They wait out the orb, so he's not going to be able to jaunt away from trouble. Meanwhile, there is going to be a Haunt committed on the back lines. TC gets a follow-up kill, takes down Disruptor, and now it could be not today on the run. They're able to make it back into their base, but they've already, and very quickly, have lost 2. Shazam not even needing to flinch at using an Aegis here. Now have the numbers advantage. This is easy territory for them to just continue their push forward, take the last outer tower here in the top lane, and then start making a move for the base. I don't see any reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing is the Winter Wyvern is going to be lacking in mana quite a bit here. He's got a full wand, maybe a couple Arcanes from now, but let's say he uses Arctic Burn to scout the cliffs and D-Ward, then yeah, he's going to be pretty lacking on mana. But the Tier 2 is absolutely free, especially after those pickoffs, but most certainly with the Aegis of TC. But yeah, Jericho's still here. There's so many Diffusal charges. Like, I guess he wants to kind of force them off the tower, but all in all, I feel like just not today would be a miss to fight here.
Trying their best to deter Shazam from taking what's preciously theirs, but that Tier 2 is done, folks. Gold going away. TC still king of that net worth. All top 3 belonging to Shazam. The closest for not today being Ursa, but unfortunately just kind of dabbling over 10k puts him at nearly a full chunky luxury item behind where the Spectre currently is. When we look at that now, you know, Radiance after that Diffusal, and looks like he's going to buff up the Diffusal here. I imagine could just decide to build forward into some tanky build-up like a Heart, and I don't see a way that they're going to be able to easily shred apart the Spectre. Like, what is the fallback plan here for not today to be able to kind of break through the backstaff here from Shazam and take TC down?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be hard. I think Manta style is probably a little bit better because you got the Radiance Diffusal, and just the mobility is going to be really important as far as kind of moving in and out. There's a lot of value in the Manta style in terms of maybe you dodge a missile or something, but more importantly, just getting that extra movement speed boost and being able to be wherever you need to in the fight. You can't always rely on the Surge to do things for you, but in general, Shazam, like their fights are going to be really effective. The one thing to note is not that they did just pick up 2 BKBs. We might see one forced out mid. HY. Oh, sacrificing Jericho to the cause. Yeah, he's going to be killed off by MSS and TC.
I mean, that has got to be a depressing sign there for not today. I mean, TC just walks right up to who's supposed to be the big bad wolf for not today and just starts slicing him down. 3 slices later, Blaze, he's below half the life and needs a Vengeful Spirit to bail him out when he's just 4 feet out the front door. It's a sad time now for not today, and they better hope for a serious misplay right now for Shazam to get something going. But they're going to try. They're going to try their damnedest plays. They jump in. There's a call down, but they get stuck in a big vacuum. Set up right now. Coconut Death Ward. And, well, Savage does drop the Witch's Curse, which will mitigate a lot of the damage. But nonetheless, still pulling ahead. But, hey, look at this. He moves forward, tries to get MSS, but not going to be so lucky. Ursa does go down. TC will be forced to dish out the Aegis here as Abuser will jump back into his base with the help of the orb. No focus really on the base. Tier 3 very strong, but they've made their committed jump. Jericho set to go down. A buyback has been committed now from the Ursa, and Shazam can finally get focused at the task at hand here and make their move for this tier 3 and take these racks and push their way to taking game number 1.
Yeah, we're gonna see if he's try to do what he can here, but it's just such a sad day for Jericho. He had to buy back earlier after sacrificing himself, and now the second he respawns after sacrificing himself for Ursa, he has to die for the puck as the Spectre jumps in. So he has just been the sacrificial lamb this entire game for not today. But Shazam taking the melee racks, walking away from it, very effective. Obviously, the Winter's Curse a bit of a misstep there, but just in general, like Shazam are just so ahead. They have such a clear advantage. They have so many ways they can execute these fights effectively, and the Invoker's massive. I mean, you look at it, he's got his full max exort with the Aghanim Scepter. These meteors can kill off anybody, and Brax is providing all the setup he needs.
So what would you say about MSS's Invoker and that we've been able to see pretty much it play out this game number 1? Do you think there's a bit of rust there? Do you think that the potential's there? Do you think he's in a good spot for now and where he needs to be? Well, what's your opinion on it?
I definitely think he's in a good spot. It essentially, the way Brax put it is they expected to have a minor downturn as with this role swap, but have a long-term gain, and that makes total sense to me. The fact is, they'll get back into the comfort zone, and the way these players and their minds work around these roles will sync up a little bit more. Brax is definitely, in my mind, always has been an off-lane player. He's always had that mentality at heart, so it's great to see him back in this. It's just how long it takes him to get back underway. And with a couple heroes, he's comfortable. With a few others in the meta, he's still going to have to kind of stretch his wings. And MSS making great plays up top here. Might not be able to kill off the puck. We'll see. Actually, yeah, the Cold Snap connects, so he should be able to follow through with a good Sunstrike here.
Ooh, is off the mark, though. Just a few inches down south, but bottom is where the real action's breaking out right now. They make their move, and that's a Rage and a BKB and everything it takes to get back to the base, and it's done. But, oh, poor Leo Style went out there to kind of get into the action, get his hands dirty, but he took in a bit too much. Pulled back, TC, Connor Kinetic Field, good damage. Can they finish off the Spectre? Call down, and it looks like they might be able to get it. They have done it. Now, well, they're eating a big coconut damage, and it's a big nod today, making the hold here. Sunstrike, not going to get a follow-up catch on anybody, but Shazam committing without the Invoker, the Wyvern not quite in position. They end up handing over 3 lives.
Yeah, that was pretty massive. The fact that the Sunstrike missed the puck allowed the puck to be alive for the fight down bottom, which was of critical import. I mean, the fact that he was able to get that kind of initiation off Shazam were just completely unprepared for that. So very, very nice swing forward for not today. They did lose the range racks in mid, but the 3 kills at this point, like that's the only way back in, is finding some level of net worth. Come back, and that's definitely a start. But still, that obviously wasn't the fairest of fights, going in essentially 5v3 until they can actually take on a full 5v5, which is what I'm sure Shazam will look to bring to bear against them next time. You can't really feel fully confident, and not today. Yeah, but you gotta believe, right?
You gotta believe. You always can believe, and we've always seen much worse than this in Dota before, so it's not out of this mindset and out of this universe that something like this can happen. So we'll have to see. It is difficult with the hand they've been dealt. It's an Ursa after all, trying to bully a late game Spectre, so that always makes you feel a bit uncomfortable as it is. But if he's able to kind of get a one-on-one and get a bit of a lockdown, this is a guy who really thrives on a long-winded fight, might be able to make it work. But a lot of it can also be on this gyro. I don't know if it ever gets to the point where he might be able to get a rapier, but he's still trying to make up for the difficult game and build into that damage, and he has quite a ways to go there, Blaze. So it's a nice big step in the right direction, but as you were pretty much alluding to, I wouldn't get your hopes up quite yet. We'll have to see what they can do, and Shazam are probably not going to be the kind of team that look to kind of allow him to get any sort of time. Or Abuser can put himself just into an awkward spot. Does get a shift off at the right time. But as they wait for him to come up, the Haunt is going to be there, and the Fuse is going to be there. Jericho once again going to have to be Mardar. Gets the swap back, puts himself in a bit of trouble, but the counterplay, there is a nice call down the kinetic field. They're locking in Jason. Can they be able to get the finish? It costs them the Disruptor, and they will be able to get the trade. Now Winter's Curse is a response, looking to go for the Gyrocopter. They don't have a lot of damage, but MSS will be there with the follow-up, and the help of the Deafening Blast will be able to get that kill. They also get the response just down below. They will get the grab. The Ursa will fall, and up and above, Jericho, one of the last left after that big defensive swap, will be going down anyways. 4 go down all day from not today, and that will be the game after a buyback. It finally will be Shazam who claimed game number 1.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of that fight was the really well-timed haunt, making it impossible for the Ursa to blink. The Ursa was a couple screens behind his teammates, and it just couldn't even get anywhere near that fight because the haunt just kept his blink on cooldown the whole time. So overall, great performance from TC. Like, very clear-cut Spectre, 13, 2, and 12 while still getting 250 out of last hits. Was really able to kind of bounce between farming and fighting very effectively, and this hero is kind of perfect for that playstyle. Like we said, a little bit of rust that they have to clean up there, but like maybe the mid play, the 3v1 against the gyrocopter would probably be the best example of that. They need to kind of coordinate a little bit better in their early laning ganks and stuff like that. But in general, this is still the tier of play that you're expecting for Shazam, and it only gets better from here. So I'm really looking forward to what they bring throughout Game 2 and potentially through the rest of the tournament if they keep up this win streak right now.
You won't have to wait too long to catch more Dota action. We'll cut to a small break. When we return, game number 2 of the BTS Americas 4 Round 1 matchup, Shazam versus Not Today. We'll see you soon.